first off, when you lose, you see a teammate get traded like Amari did, what's what is that like? What are the emotions that sort of run through the locker room after
Well, again, I think it just really depends the vibration of the teammate. Amari had a very high vibration and was a guy that was very relatable. A guy that great teammate. He was also a guy that could understand the personnel that was around him. So when you lose a guy like that, just specifically in the locker room, obviously there's a certain type of buzz, there's a certain type of energy of a longing or a missing, of him. But obviously this is the NFL, and I talked to Coop too. We all kind of like understand, the nature of the business and the nature of just where we're at, life and the society and the business that we're in. So it is what it is, I think.
I mean, we've gotten to see you and Jerry and Rodney and him that would always be over in that corner of the locker room hanging out. Just what has it been like to get to know him as a person during the time he's been here?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I think that, again, like Coop is from down south, Florida, and my mother is also from down south Florida, so I spent a lot of time down there. And him, Eight, Drew, all of them guys have kind of like a similar type of background. So, that was kind of like, kind of good to have certain things to relate on, things to talk about. Coop was also a guy that was very spiritual, a guy that was much into history and science. So, even Miles would get into those conversations. So, I mean, again, the locker room was always an interesting place, with Coop. So.
What did you learn? What did you learn most being around Coop, whether it's watching him work or just being here in the locker room? Like, what was the biggest thing you learned?
Well, I think while we had a lot of conversations, I think that I learned with Coop is that there's always like a time and a place for everything. Coop was a guy that didn't really, talk much if not spoken to. He wasn't the guy that was doing different things if not requested of him. So his patience and his temperance and just understanding the situation he was in, I think that was the biggest thing I learned from him.
Considering where you guys are at right now, how do you avoid the negative connotation that comes with a trade like that when one of the best players on the team gets dealt, and you guys are tasked with trying to maintain the same level of energy, same standards to win, and things like that?
Yeah, well, I think that just comes with a certain lens of controlling the controllables, the things that are in your grasp to be able to function. You have to do those things, and our responsibility as players and each of individuals, on the team and have a certain position. I think you have to really focus on those things when it comes to, what's the mission of the team, what's the mission of the front office, what's the mission of the all that stuff can get blurred sometimes when those situations happen. But I think that when you really just key into our responsibilities, like me, for instance, we got a great quarterback coming into Cleveland this Sunday, and #1 rating quarterback right now, and we're looking forward to living up to the challenge. And I think that's what the focus is just taking every game one by one, and focusing on our responsibilities as individuals to contribute to the collective of the team.
You talked about the corner over there and the guys, the bond you have. You are right next to Jerry Judy too. And the receivers are saying that there's not a big veteran leader right now, but that means that someone has to step up. So how do you feel Jerry Judy might step into that role as a guy that leads the younger guys in that room?
Well, I mean, I think it's just by the nature of the game. Is just like it's a next man up mentality. You'll hear from coach, you'll hear from everybody else. The oldest guy typically is the guy, that does step up to the plate. And it kind of goes in that order. I mean, the more experience that you have, in the offense and the defense and just playing football is the more you kind of have to step up to the plate, whether you like it or not, right? I think it's about the intentionality, again, of those players. Like Judy will have to step up, of course, and some of the other players as well. It's a young man's game, but it's also, a veteran's game as well.
Jeremy, did you get a chance to read Nick's letter yet that he published in the Players Tribune? And just, I guess, one step closer, 1 week closer to getting him back. Just your thoughts.
I think I read some quotes, but not the full thing yet. I was just talking to Nick in the training room. Deshaun done?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, now I'm just,
Best for last.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's good to have him back, and obviously he's might be that, Coach. You probably hear Coach Stefanski talking about that spark, he'll be that spark for us. So we can't wait to see that and his contribution.
The Browns seem to be the one team that Burrow can't get over the hump with. He's 1-5, 0-3 here. Why do you think that is?
Say again?
Why do you think that is? That
With Burrow.
just does not
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I think that we have a good personnel here at the Browns. I think they AB has done a good job bringing guys in that meet a certain personnel, that meet a certain energy, especially on those kind of like big time divisional games and a lot of competitors here that really want to get after it. And I think maybe that's our competition level. I think when it comes to those things where it's like we kind of got like a lot of pride about like the in-home kind of like in-state. I don't know, maybe something like that. I'm trying to find the answer for you.
And the other thing is the Bengals believe they have the best rushing game since Burrow's been their quarterback, and they say that these two guys that they feature are better at shotgun running. Instead of do a lot of what makes the back better in the shotgun.
I don't know, man. These guys are pretty good though. They get downhill. They don't waste time. And I know they had the 2 fumbles I think last week, but other than that, I think that these guys are again, like we had a little bit of trouble with Moss I think at the Colts when he was there, and of course number 30 Brown he did a good job for them last year in that last game. So these are some really good agile running backs and they are physical on their approach and fast guys. So it'll be a challenge for us, but I think that obviously Coach has a great plan to minimize the productivity of them.
It seemed like you guys did a better job on run defense last week than in some previous games. What did you guys change up to make that more successful?
I don't think we changed up anything. I just think it was more so just doing our responsibility. Obviously, there's some mistakes that we have to correct still. But I think that guys are just like, all right, let's just kind of focus on those things that we have to do, to allow us to execute. And that was one of the plans going into the game, and that'll be the plan going into this game, is just to execute our responsibilities that the coaches set forth.
Both sides of the ball, had their own issues that have led to this start. It's easy to finger point when things are not going well. My question is, have you seen any of that, and how difficult is it to avoid the temptation to get into that, blame game when you're looking at where you're at?
Well, it goes back to like the famous saying in the NFL, do your 111. It's not necessarily, again, like you have to reset after every game, whether it's a loss or whether it's a win. You have to reset. You have to come back to the drawing board to say, okay, let me own my responsibility. Let me have my accountability. Let me have my responsibility, and just find a way to be able to say, okay, it's on me. Everybody should say it's on me, right? And the common saying, in the defensive room is, somebody say, oh, that's on me, and you will respond, that's on us. So, like, when we go back to that philosophy and that ideology, at some point it's destined to climb up. At some point it's destined to turn around. So we're looking forward to that turn.
Jeremiah, Nick is so old school. He's kind of an old soul, if you will.
Yeah.
How much do you appreciate that, and how rare is that kind of guy in the NFL these days?
Say Nick?
Nick, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the old soul type of guy, how rare is that? I mean, interesting enough, there are a few guys in this locker room, I would say. And a lot of guys that come from other locker rooms come into this locker room, they often say, like, this is a different type of feel of locker room. Guys are, into some of these kind of, like, different subjects. And, like, for instance, Miles is into, like, 40s music and stuff like that. Sometimes 20s music. You just never know, right? I think that, again, like, a lot of that kind of, like, just vibes in the Cleveland culture, just as a city. And I don't know, maybe AB takes that into consideration when he's picking guys. It's like, let me see what type of, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, again, like, that obviously at some point contributes heavily to the team chemistry and contributes heavily to the success of the organization. And you'll see it here as we go. We have Nick back now, and he'll be a great contributor to the offense, and we'll get this thing rolling. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Good, thanks.